Hello children, welcome back to my channel. I am back again with periodic table class 9's concise chemistry book exercise solved. Let us move on with the first question. What is the need for classification of elements? It is impossible for a chemist to study all the elements and their compounds, hence classification is a must. Following are the reasons for the classification of elements. So, to study the elements better, to correlate the properties of elements with some fundamental properties, and also to reveal the relationship between elements. Number 2. What was the basis of the earliest attempts made for classification and grouping of elements? The first classification element was done into two groups, that is metals and non-metals. Question 3. A, B, C are the elements of a Drobenus triad. If the atomic mass of A is 7 and that of C is 39, what should be the atomic mass of B? So according to Drobenus triad, it should be the average of the first and the last. So it came up to 23. 3b. Why was Dobrynin's triad discarded? Dobrynin failed to arrange all the elements in the form of triad because suppose fluorine, chlorine and bromine is observed and then the mean of the fluorine and bromine is taken. It is supposed to be half of 19 plus 80. It is coming up to 49.5, but we know that for chlorine it is 35.5. Hence it was discarded. Explain Newland's law of octaves. Why was the law discarded? Elements, when arranged in the increasing order of the atomic weights, are similar to the eighth and the first note of the musical scale. For example, the eighth element from lithium is sodium. Similarly, the eighth element from sodium is potassium. Thus, lithium and sodium provide any specific place for hydrogen. This classification did not work with heavier elements. Newland suggested two elements, that is cobalt and nickel, in the same slot, and iron, which resembles cobalt and nickel in properties, has been placed far away. Did Dobrynin's triad also exist in the columns of Newland's octaves? Compare and find out. Yes, it existed. For example, the second column of Newland's classification has the elements lithium, sodium, and potassium, which constitutes a Dobrynin's triad. 6a. So, lithium and sodium and potassium were put in one group on the basis of their similar properties. What are those similar properties? They are, all of them have got one electron in the outermost shell. They form unipositive ions. They are good reducing agents. They are soft metals. They impart color to the flame and also has a common name, that is alkali metal group 1A. 6b. The elements calcium, strontium and barium were put in one group or family on the basis of their similar properties. What were they? All of them are metals. Oxide of each of them is alkaline in nature and each has a valency 2. 7a. What was Mendeleev's basis for classification of elements? Mendeleev's basis for periodic classification was similarities in the chemical properties of elements and increasing order of atomic weights of elements. 7b. Mendeleev's contributions to the concept of periodic table laid the foundation for the modern periodic table. Give reason. Mendeleev laid the foundation for the modern periodic table by showing periodicity of the properties of the elements by arranging the elements, that is 63, then known into 8 groups by leaving gaps for undiscovered elements and predicting their properties. So he made separate groups for metals and non-metals, and he also created periods in which the element gradually changes from metallic to non-metallic character. So he was able to show the elements in the same group had the same valency. Question 8. State Mendeleev's periodic law. Mendeleev's periodic law is that the physical and chemical properties of the elements are a periodic function of their atomic masses. You all must be knowing this. Please do learn it. Very, very important question. Use Mendeleev's periodic table to predict the formula of hydrides of carbon and silicon. Definitely with silicon it is silane, and for uh, carbon it is methane. Hydride of carbon, definitely it is methane, that is CH4, and that is CSIH4. Use Mendeleev's periodic table to predict the formula of oxides of potassium, aluminium and barium. For aluminium it is Al2O3, for barium it is in group 2, so it is BaO, and for potassium it is K2O. Which group of elements was missing from Mendeleev's original periodic table? Anomalous pairs of elements were missing from his table. Please do remember that. Question 11. State the merits of Mendeleev's classification of elements. Merits of Mendeleev's classification of elements, that is grouping of elements, gaps for undiscovered elements, and he predicted the properties of some the then unknown elements. These were some of the basic merits and you can say the advantages of Mendeleev's classification of elements. 12th one. Why did Mendeleev leave some gaps in his periodic table of elements? Explain your answer with an example. There's a spelling mistake, please do ignore that. He left gaps in the table for the undiscovered elements. He discovered the properties of such elements with the help of neighboring elements, and also he discovered eka-silicon and atomic mass of 72, which was later named as germanium with atomic mass 72.6. The atomic number of an element is more important to the chemist than its relative atomic mass. Why? So there's a very big question why, as to why is it important. Henry Moseley found that when cathode rays struck anodes of different metals, the wavelength of these metals was found to decrease a regular manner of changing the metal of an anode in the order of its position in the periodic table. By this, he concluded that the atomic number of positive charges present in the nucleus due to protons is the most fundamental property of the element. So Henry Moseley found that the atomic number is a better fundamental property of an element compared to its atomic mass. And this led to the modern periodic law. This law gave explanation of anomalies in Mendeleev's classification of elements such as position of isotopes and the position of argon and potassium. Number 14. Consider the following elements and group them and in same period. So you have to put them into same group and same period. Here is the chart. 15. The element whose properties were predicted on the basis of position was eka-silicon in the Mendeleev's periodic table. And the two elements whose atomic weights were corrected on the basis of their position in Mendeleev's periodic table were gold and platinum. 15c. How many elements were known at the time of Mendeleev's classification? 63 elements only were discovered during that time. Thank you. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos that are coming very soon on the various other exercises that is to be solved very soon. Thank you.